of our Boys A Platform Finals. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't going to mean a lot to everyone, but it's going to mean a lot to a lot of people. Up on the big screen right now, we have a guy that's been with us for around 25 years doing a variety of jobs in and around Diving Canada. Grew up with this guy. Our kids were in the same club competing and participating in diving. Tim Pfeiffer has spent the last 25 years developing software and programming, and he's also been zipped around the world for FINA doing judging analysis. And this is it for him. He has decided, Mitch Geller is there with him, he has decided to retire, and we are going to miss him. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will, a round of applause for our friend, Tim Pfeiffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the athletes competing in the boys A Platform Finals. Voici vos finalistes pour la tour Garçon A. Introducing first from Cuba, de Cuba, Jesus Rodriguez.
Representing Great Britain, représentant la Grande-Bretagne, Ewan McCabe.
Also representing Great Britain, également de la Grande-Bretagne, Robbie Lee.
Représentant l'Autriche, representing Austria, Anton Knorr.
Representing Malaysia, de la Malaisie, Bertrand Anak Lisas.
Représentant l'Ukraine, representing Ukraine, Danilo Avanesov.
Representing Germany, représentant l'Allemagne, Tim Axer.
Representing Australia, représentant l'Australie, Jackson Baushire.
Representing Italy, représentant l'Italie, Francesco Gasolini.
Représentant le Brésil, representing Brazil, Diogo Silva.
Representing Canada, représentant le Canada, Matt Cullen.
Représentant les États-Unis d'Amérique, representing the United States of America, Tyler Wills.
They are your finalists for the boys A Platform Competition.
Our officials for the event, referee Yuki Kaneto, assistant referee Anna Novotna.
And our judges, les juges, Judge 1, Heidemarie Bartova, Judge 2, Miguel Velasquez Dorgan, Judge 3, Daniela Mihaila Ellis, Judge 4, Kathleen Emma Shepard, Judge 5, Julie Sino Thorson, Judge 6, Juan Guayacan Contreras, and Judge 7, Wei Song Lee. All right, Montreal, this is it. The last event of this competition. We will crown world champions in just a moment. Montreal, we want to hear you. Let's make some noise.
We are live. The final event, the final day, the men's A 10-meter final, one of the most exciting events of the week. Joining me today, Igor Kopecki. Igor, thank you so much for being here.
Glad to be here. Nice to be part of the conclusion to the 2022 World Junior Championships.
Starting off this event, Jesus from Cuba. The forward 3.5 somersault. Wow.
Very solid start. Great takeoff, straight in. Looks like he just didn't quite hold his back tight enough, so his body bending just a little bit as he hits the water for a little extra splash.
I have to admit, after watching high diving, it was a little foreign to me to see a head first dive there.
Yeah, back down to earthly heights, more normal things. Not as much of a neck strain looking up. And although 10 meters is still quite high, it is a nerve-wracking event. Now we can calm down and watch back what we're used to watching. Also, there's a couple things on the line here. Obviously, the medals in the boys' A tower event, kind of the most dramatic event in the World Junior Championships. Most competitions finish on the boys' A platform or the men's platform, even at the Olympics. But also on the line, we have 3 countries with 3 gold medals in these championships. Ukraine, Italy, and Canada all have 3 gold medals. So whichever country, if one of those 3 countries wins this gold medal, then they have the most gold medals for the event. So there's a little extra team incentive cheering on their respective teammates because Italy, Canada, and the Ukraine all have a finalist in this event.
Next up, Great Britain. The back 2.5 somersault, 1.5 twist. Not the best one we've seen him do.
Yeah, the divers have to also manage. We say this is the last event of the event. There's a lot of managing your energy and managing when you peak. Obviously, these divers are excited to get going on this last day. But if you've been excited the entire time, some of that emotional energy can slowly drain. Ewan not ecstatic about that. Robbie Lee also looking to move up in the final, qualifying 10th. In the platform, the divers do 4 compulsories and 5 optional dives. There's the addition of a handstand possibility on the platform, so you can choose from 5 of the 6 types of groups. Also a forward 3.5. Just slightly under-rotated, but much tighter on the entry than we've seen so far in this final. For a clean entry, just a little bit under-rotated. Robbie having solid takeoffs all around in his list. He's one of the medal threats.
The 12 finalists coming in to this final with their preliminary score from their first 4 dives of their compulsories, the easy dives we call them, with a range of about 25, so not too far apart from each other with the scores coming into this final. Now we have Anton from Austria, another forward 3.5 somersault pike position.
And he was extremely impressive in the prelims. Way up there for most of it.
Beautiful entry.
Yeah, with dives like that.
Really high on that takeoff. Kind of coming out almost early in the air, but pulling it around and escaping into the water. Beautiful first dive.
Very nice first dive from Anton. High of 8, low of 7, which is solid scoring in these World Championships, where the scoring has been a bit tighter than usual. Maximum of 10. 0 is a fail dive. Again, we'll mention it's not quite like gymnastics where you see a 9.2, 9.3, 9.4, 9.5. Here we only measure in half-point increments. So 7s and above are very good dives. You get some 8s, you know you've done something special. And we're going to see something special on that.
That was absolutely gorgeous. No splash. We're always looking for that rip entry, but that was a special one.
Yeah, fantastic dive. You can just see the quality of this entry, vertical, sucking the water down with him. Malaysians get to celebrate that. Unfortunately, his teammate, Elvis Priestley, did not make it in. We all enjoyed seeing that name coming on the board during the preliminary event. We were hoping to see him again.
Now Ukraine, a very, very strong team coming here to Montreal this week. We've seen some really great things from the Ukrainians.
Who have the added stress of having to train in Kiev, or electing to still train in Kiev.
Showing a ton of resilience coming here with some beautiful, beautiful diving.
Solid first dive. Coach is clapping. Maybe not quite as happy as she could be. Not as straight in terms of the twist as he wanted to be. You can see just a little bit of motion, a little wobble. You'll see the score. The judges some will pick at it a little bit more than others, going down to a 6, as high of a 7.5. You want to see 0 turn on that entry. Everything looking perfectly perpendicular. Or you're going to get the judges knocking a few of the scores off. So this is where the competition really gets started. As Courtney was mentioning, compulsory dives, they just do 4 first of all. So now we have more dives in the optional rounds. And they're replacing their optional dives from the preliminary contest. Those are wiped out. They keep the compulsory scores. 5 dives, higher degree of difficulty. 3.2 for Tim Axer on inward 3.5.
A little bit slow for an A group inward 3.5, just tucking down off the platform. We really want to see that high jump, that quick spin and tight tuck, still knowing when to kick, kicking straight up and getting that straight up and down entry, just not that rip entry.
Yeah, just finishing a little bit low to be extremely impressive. Steady dive, 57 points. We're looking for divers to go over 70 in this event. Over 80 will be spectacular.
Now, Jackson from Australia, the back 2.5 somersault, 1.5 twist.
One of the more complicated dives in terms of getting rotations and twisting. In this case, he'll twist first and then have to go into a pike position. This was just recently introduced into the books. Well, I say recently, but after the '96 Olympics. In the modern era of diving.
You're making me feel like I was recently born. Wow. Jackson showing us that he deserves to be here in the final, fighting for that medal spot. Beautiful technique. And that beautiful rip entry, very controlled, no twisting on the bottom. I think we're going to see some really nice scores from the judges.
Lows of 7s, but a few 8s. 68 points, nearly at that 70-point mark. Solid first dive from Jackson. And now Italy. Francesco Casalini is going to be doing the same dive from the modern era.
So we've seen some really nice back 2.5, 1.5 to start off this event, easily being able to compare them, seeing some twisting on the water, how the entries change, just slightly over-rotated on the bottom there, but using that pike save on the bottom to continue to pull the water under.
Yeah, just a really clean-looking dive, I thought. He was very square, the term we used to say that there was no extra twist and not any under-twist. Like you said, he did over-rotate just a touch, keeping his body tight. Solid start. We see a few divers like to start with that twist dive, despite its difficulty, as you open up, you're looking right at the water, so there's a comfort in doing that dive. Some open up with it, and we'll see the other half finish with that dive.
Yes, a lot of first round and fifth round twisting dives.
Diogo had a very good preliminary event. Fourth after the preliminaries. Starting with the scarier group, handstand.
Showing excellent control in the handstand. Holding it, the judges like that. He's gaining control. Great takeoff and kip off the board. He knows when to kick out and he reaches for the water. With what I guess we could call in headfirst diving a blind entry. You don't get to see the water before you hit it.
Yeah, best dive so far, 77 points. Really well done. And he's got his handstand out of the way. Even if you are a superior handstander, sometimes there's just that little bit of nerves, because if you do move your hand or let your feet come down, then you will lose 2 points from every judge. And so there's always in the back of your mind, except for the very confident, that fear or threat or stress about getting a balk in your handstand dive. Matt Cullen from Canada. Starting off with the forward 3.5 pike. Normally one of his best dives. You can see tempered enthusiasm from the Canadian coaches. They know he can do that better. Beautiful takeoff and position. Just allows it to over-rotate just a touch. Not disappearing as well as he is known for, having great entries. Winning the rip contest earlier this week in the opening event. So Matt starting out this entire contest and in the last event.
8 long days. Tyler from the United States of America, starting off with that pack twister we've seen a couple times. Tyler first in the prelim, obviously wanting to hold on to that gold medal score. Olivia said the other day, she said, I kind of liked coming 12th in the prelim. There's only one way to go but up.
Certainly is. And you see a lot of divers just kind of go for it at that point. And on 10 meter, you kind of want to go for that entry, go for the takeoff, and be committed like that.
Just like that. Not much to say about that dive except it was brilliant and a really great start for Tyler.
Yeah, solid start. Beautiful dives. You can see his entries are extremely clean, international quality for great scores. Good support. Coaches are happy. Fans in the stands cheering him on. 76.80. Maybe not quite as high as the back triple we saw. That dive used to have a degree of difficulty of 3.4 when it was first introduced. But every 4 years after the Olympics, FINA, the international body of diving, gets together and they look at any kind of rule changes, degree of difficulty changes, and they felt like that dive was maybe a little bit too easy to do for the degree of difficulty, and it was brought back down to a 3.2, which is the same as the traditional dive that everyone used to do, which was back 1.5 somersaults with 3.5 twists. So that's kind of the visual of multiple twisting like a top, which when the difficulty of a simpler dive is 3.4, it kind of eliminated the beauty of that other dive. And so now we're just slowly starting to see some divers doing multiple twists, which are getting rewarded with a little bit more difficulty in other events. We have yet really to see many back 3.5 twists in the 10-meter event. People are still working with that one.
Round 2 of this final. Jesus from Cuba.
Backward 3.5 somersaults tuck.
One of my favorite dives to watch.
Wow, what a confident jump, just straight up, bold. A little bit high on his kick. Needs to push his feet back a little bit more so he has the ability to reach back for a vertical entry, but when you open up at the ceiling too much, it's too late to do anything. He just slowly rolls over into the water for 5s and a low of 4. Not exactly happy with that dive.
Ewan from Great Britain. Now we're going to see 3 of those back arm stand triples in a row. The DD of 3.3. DD stands for degree of difficulty.
And it's 3.3 in tuck. Some divers on the international stage do this dive in pike. Need a very good spring on that top to be able to do that. Boy, really, really great dive. Just a little bit under-rotated and not quite strong enough with his arms or timing that entry. He's vertical enough that some of the divers you can see, they just under-rotate a little bit, get their hands back, time that entry just perfectly, and you can still disappear into the water.
And the judges are using Diogo's first back arm stand triple as the idea of what they'd like to see from these other athletes competing this dive. Now Robbie, Great Britain, also same dive.
When the divers go into their handstand, sometimes you see them do a pike press with legs straight right from the ground. Some jump up a little bit into a tuck. That is all optional. It doesn't change the degree of difficulty. So he presses up in a tuck position. But they do want you to show stability and a vertical handstand in the beginning. And that's where you need to kick to get that dive straight in, hands back, ripped. Robbie's 2 for 2. Was second after the first round of optionals, sitting in first currently. Moving up to the top of the board, of the leaderboard. As we move to Anton, who enjoyed a lot of time at the top of the board in the preliminary event. Just slipping down slightly near the end of the preliminaries. And he looks like he's going to straddle press. Nice and quick, right to the top, looking controlled the whole way. A little bit slower, but he waited long enough to still get quite straight in. Germany and Austria applauding together.
As Igor said, not the strongest one we've seen, but Anton knowing to squeeze and hold on until that final push, landing straight up and down.
Mixture of scores there. Low of 5.5, high of 8. When a dive is slightly unusual or the entry isn't quite a perfect entry, sometimes you see a bit of discrepancy in the scoring, or some judges put more emphasis on one element versus another of the dive. Bertrand from Malaysia. Inward, 3.5 somersaults tuck, also at 3.2 degree of difficulty. This is also generally one of the easier dives to score well on in the boys A platform event. Well, just an ease of rotation from Bertrand there. Really nice takeoff, beautiful tuck position, comes out very early and still over-rotates at the end. Just missing his timing for that entry. Needs to look at the water a little bit more clear. Almost looked like he ducked his head a bit, letting that roll over just a little. Checking it out in the replay with his coach. You see the showers in the background there. That's warm water coming out. Divers liking to keep loose. Sometimes there's hot tubs, but here in Montreal, they use the shower.
Fortunately, not a super cold pool. It is not helpful when you start to tense up, especially during your event.
Danilo, same dive. Almost a similar result. Not as strong a takeoff, didn't finish nearly as high. And missing also the entry, not with that superb grab. Beautiful tuck positions. The Ukrainians are really showing elegant style here. I've got to say, toe points, leg lines, tuck positions, pike positions. Danilo a little off on his entry there. Total of 54. There's potential for 80 on the inward 3.5 if you really just go vertical and drill it. And Tim Axer from Germany, sitting in 11th place. Now he will be doing a forward of 3.5 in the pike position. Superior entry, probably one of the better front 3.5s we've seen so far in this event. Team Germany all together in the stands. They brought noisemakers, maybe the loudest cheers so far, but they're using technology. The Canadians, just voices and whistles. Excellent front 3.5. 67 points, nearly 70 points, and the difficulty is just a touch lower on a forward 3.5, 3.0. So to be up close to 70, solid second round dive. Jackson, the first reverse 3.5 of this final. 3.4 difficulty. Toes just over the edge of the tower. Some divers like their toes over the edge, some just to the edge.
So in the prelim, the same takeoff, very far out, but he did have that rip entry. He needs to jump up higher and not push it out so much with his hips. Very difficult to do, but critical if you want to make this dive all the way.
Yeah, this is a bit of a scary dive for some divers. You can see he might be a little bit nervous of the platform. The tendency for divers first learning it when they're just getting used to reverse 3.5. Jump it out, be safe, but then the consequence is it's very hard to get all the rotations in. Francesco back 3.5 somersaults tuck. 3.3, just like the backwards handstand.
A very interesting back 3.5. So beautiful right off the top. That high jump, nice tight tuck, and his kick out. Very beautiful, just a little too late. He kicks out touching his knees, kind of in that almost pike position, just needing to extend his hips, pushing his toes back towards the 10 meter, and he would have had that straight up and down rip entry.
Yeah, there's a few different styles on the backwards kick out. It seems like some of the Europeans are choosing to do almost a more Russian style where they, when they spin backwards, kick into almost a pike position before then reaching back. Chinese, Canadians tend to kick to a more flat position, have a little more control that way. You need a little more forgiving. Different people have different preferences as to which looks more beautiful. When you go straight in and rip, both will bring up big scores. Diogo on his inward 3.5 tuck. Did a great one in the preliminary.
Very nice dive.
Also very good. Diogo is on in the final. Just demonstrating a lot of power and then getting into a very small tuck position, making that easily, just slightly misaligning the entry and allowing a bit of splash to come up, giving the appearance that it was more under-rotated than it really was. See the coach just talking Ricardo, long time, strong coach from Brazil. As we move to 4th place, Matt Cullen looking to make a move. He used this dive in the team competition. The back handstand. Now instead of just rotating, he's going to add a twist in here. Ends up being 2 somersaults backwards with 1.5 twists. And just a slight over-rotation for Matt. Beautiful in the air.
Matt is really known for his rip entry. There's no splash when Matt hits the water. These first 2 dives have been honestly not his best dives. Really great for maybe most athletes, but for Matt, we just know he can rip these dives for 8s, 9s, and even 10s.
62 points, well below the 70 that he was looking for. Well, he was hoping for more. We know he's competitive. We know what he's capable of. A lot
He
of the
knows
divers,
what he's capable of.
yeah, and all the divers that made this final, this is sort of a mental test as well. When you're not 100% on, you miss a little bit, you're starting to get frustrated, your mind kind of plays that trick on you where you're like giving up. You think, oh, I'm out of it now. This is the time to turn it on. There's still 3 dives left. That's a lot of room to move up. Now Tyler, inward 3.5 somersaults tuck at 3.2.
A very, very interesting inward. I mean, Tyler has been leading the prelim, leading the final so far. He kicks out early, and some people are able to do this where they land with their thighs hitting the water and yet make no splash.
Yeah, so this is still like excellent technique on the entry. He knows how to get in very clean, and that's what you want to do. You can still trick some of the judges a little bit, make it look like it was better than it was. Had he not gotten such a good entry, the scores would have been significantly lower. But there he is, faltering a little bit in his 2nd round dive. And the Austrian, Anton Knoll, moves into the lead. Robbie Lee from Great Britain in 2nd. Diogo Silva in 3rd place for the time being. 3:07 is 1st place. 2:93 is 6th, where Tyler Wills is, so it's still rather close. We're talking about 70-point dives in this event. Most of the divers will save one of their strongest dives for last, hoping to make a move at the end.
And for all 12 of these athletes, it's not rare to see this, but we're going to see a lot of the same 5 dives from all 12 athletes, with the forward 3.5s, the inward 3.5s, the back 2.5, 1.5 twisters, either the back arm stand triple or the back 3.5, and some forward 4.5s, just the one, and some reverse 2.5s and arm stands. So a lot of the similar DDs, which might keep these scores really close, neck and neck fighting the whole way.
The difficulties are all similar, so it just comes down to the judges' scores. Jesus, inward 3.5 somersaults tuck.
A really nice inward 3.5. I love how strong and high he is on that takeoff. It shows the judges the confidence that he has doing this dive. That really nice tuck, just needing to pull through that entry a little bit more to get rid of that splash.
Just missing that entry a little bit. Sometimes it's nerves, sometimes it's fatigue. Sometimes it's just a slight miscalculation. The surface of the water is sometimes very smooth and calm in competition, making it hard to discern the surface from the bottom. When you look at some of the replays as they're coming to the water, you can see we have sprayers installed to break that surface tension, to see the ripples at the water, so the divers can tell exactly that moment when they need to give it their all to tighten up. And when you time it right, we'll see some great entries there. Then you have that sound from the dive, and then the sound from the crowd immediately after. So Ewan comes back a little stronger now. A little off on his last dive. Times his entry much better on his inward 3.5.
And in the A group, we do see the 5 dives in the final, a lot more than the B group. They only have 3 in the women, 4 in the boys. So if you do miss that one dive, there is still room to make it up.
And also, you need to be a more well-rounded diver in the A group. In the B group, some of the divers can hide something. You could do, theoretically, a forward and inward, a twist and a handstand, all with forward-facing entries, so you can hide a weakness in a back rotation. Once we're covering 5 groups, you got to do everything. You got to do all the groups. You need to be more well-rounded. Robbie diving very steady. First 3 dives. Sitting in second after the first 3. A solid inward 3.5. Not fully vertical and not fully clean. But he certainly had potential there, giving that little signal. His hands collapsing a little bit as he hit the water. You see the tape on his arm. Often you see tape on the arms of platform divers. Usually by the time they get to the final, it's quite a bit of impact when you hit the water. And so every once in a while, you get a little strain in your tricep. And I see Robbie mentioning that to his coach by his signal in the shower. Perhaps that's why he's not as clean as he had been throughout the week in practice. Anton, the leader, with his back twists.
Wow.
Excellent, excellent back twist. Anton jumps that. Just a very straight up jump. The straighter up you jump, the easier it is to go straight in at the end. Could be a little cleaner if we're looking for 8s and then higher. But 73 points. Another great solid dive. That'll keep him in the lead. To Malaysia and Bertrand.
Doing a little hop and a skip to the end, keeping that energy up. It is the end of the day. It's already dark outside.
It's a good view of the rafters there in the background where the high divers were diving from. Backwards 3 1/2 somersaults tuck.
Oh.
These are the more challenging dives. Spinning backwards, we've seen reverse a little bit off, out too far. Now, Bertrand, again, kicking too high. Just not that confidence to kick a little bit early, right at the spot. Maybe not as good a spotter as he needs to be. Good attitude, though, smiling it off. Danilo now getting ready for the hardest handstand of this event. So we've seen a handstand with 1.5 twists from Matt. He's going to add a twist. This is a back double rotation with 2.5 twists. 3.6 as opposed to the 3.2.
Wow.
And he gets a wow from Tong Hui, one of the top Canadian coaches here. Spent a lot of time in Australia, now working at the INS. Impressed with that effort.
I was a little shocked the way he finished that twist and getting so close and quick into his hand grab. Sometimes that doesn't help you control that twist. Did not matter for him. He ripped that entry. What a beautiful and difficult dive.
So 7.5s for 73 points, 73.80. And that moves Danilo up. He was down at 9th. Now he's approaching the top group, sitting in 3rd after that dive for the time being. Still 30 points out of top spot. And Tim Axa. Reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck. This is only a 2.8.
A very nice 2.8.
And you can see how he goes into a pike position from the tuck position. On this kick out, holds that there for that split second before going back. Now you can use that to orient yourself a little bit. One of the reasons they say they do that is to prevent any arching. You see some divers arch when they come out, bend their back into an arch position, which judges usually deduct for. It's not as, you're not demonstrating as much control and certainly not as much confidence. When you come from a tuck to a pike position, when you're spinning back or reverse, that demonstrates a lot of confidence in the dive. And he's well rewarded. 68 points on only a 2.8 difficulty. One of the better dives we've seen so far in this final from Tim.
Jackson, the inward 3.5 tuck. Not the best inward 3.5 we've seen. Not very confident off the board for the last 2 dives for Jackson. Pushing both of those dives back. I mean, inward and reverse is what we've just seen from him. Those are the scariest takeoffs. You have to be very careful of the distance from the platform, but we're just seeing Jackson push back a little bit too far here. Not looking very confident in his diving in this final.
Now moving on to the next dive. Once you miss, you got to move on. You still have more dives left. Getting some last minute tips and corrections from his coach for his next dive as we go to Francesco. 7th after the first 2 dives. Inward 3.5 somersaults. In tuck. You can see this kind of little rhythm from their feet as they bounce into the takeoff.
Gorgeous inward 3.5. That is what you want to see. Francesco has such a nice takeoff. His chest is tall, his chin is up, he's straight up into that nice tight tuck, finds the water straight up and down and pulls the water through in that pike save. Really, really nice dive from Francesco.
72 for Francesco, moving him to a total of 360. That'll bring him up to 4th for the time being. He was in 7th at the end of the last round. Diogo did an excellent arm stand back triple somersault, which has the same style of kick out as what's coming up now. Back 3.5. Very similar feeling dives, orientation-wise. He's currently sitting in 3rd after 2 dives. He knows what he's doing backwards. A lot of confidence in that jump, confidence in the tuck, and confidence in that kick out.
Every dive he's done so far is so strong right from the takeoff. We see it, but we don't see it to this extent. Really, really impressive diving from Diogo. Wishing he got just a little bit better on that entry, but he knows it. He's still got 69.3, and he still has 2 more dives. Going into that round in 3rd, trying to secure that medal spot. Now we have Matt, Team Canada. We know what he can do on this back 3.5 somersault. He is an incredible, incredible athlete. He knows how to do that rip entry. And we're very looking forward to seeing that on this back 3.5.
So Matt looking to take advantage of having a diver before him do the same dive very well. And if Matt can show an even better entry, the judges will have to go higher. Just like that.
That is a Matt Cullen back 3.5 somersault. He is not messing around. He went into this final in 2nd place. He wants a medal. He just showed everybody in this building the best back 3.5 of the event. The coach's reaction's very similar to ours up here.
Beautiful dive. Really nice tuck position. You can see in contrast, he's pointing his toes in the tuck, and that vertical entry was spectacular. As high as a 9.5 on that dive, the best score of the event so far.
84.15, that's gonna be hard to beat.
And he has moved within 2 points of the leader from 5th place. This is what makes 10-meter diving exciting. When someone does a dramatic dive like that, you can make a big move. And here comes Tyler, looking to bounce back after his inward 3.5. Running to the edge of the power, running to the edge of the tower takeoff. Well,
it was
you
nice.
can hear the crowd being a little bit subdued after the emotion of Matt's back 3.5. Tyler has a solid forward 3.5. Not quite that same entry, not quite the same dynamic finish.
And I will
And you
say,
can feel it.
as exciting as a very nice forward 3.5 is, there's just something about those difficult tuck dives, the inward 3.5s, the back 3.5s, the reverse 3.5s, that are so much more intimidating and exciting when done properly. In first, Anton with the score of 380. Right behind, less than 2 points away, Matt Cullen from Canada. And just behind him, Diogo from Brazil. This event is changing, and it is changing quickly. We only have 2 more rounds left. This is the excitement. We are going to see some big dives in these next 2 rounds. And then we will see who comes home, if they do, with that secondary gold medal.
Yeah. Austria has yet to win a medal at these championships. Matt Cullen looking to get a World Junior medal. Diogo Silva in contention. And then we have a few divers close behind. Tim Axer in 4th place, just 2 points out of the medals right now. 2 points behind him is Robbie Lee from Great Britain. And the Italian Francesco Castellini, just 3 points behind him. There's still a lot of moving to go. We have 2 dives left. Just entering round 4 of the final. Jesus with his back arm stand. Pressing up in the tuck position. Double somersault, 1.5 twists backwards.
Gorgeous.
By far his best dive of this final. Just shows an impeccable line as he's up in his handstand. That's just ballet-like perfection, toe point. Slight over rotation on the entry, but what an elegantly done back arm stand twist. 70 points is his reward. Highs of 8s, lows of 7s.
Really, really excellent diving from Jesus. They don't have the best facilities in Cuba. The pool in Matanzas, a little bit of issues with the hurricanes, the outdoor pool they have there. I've been also to the pool in Havana. Definitely a different scene than this pool here in Montreal.
I haven't been to the Havana one. However, moving on to Ewan and his back 3.5 pike, the only one doing this dive in the event, 3.6 backwards. The others all doing back 3.5s in tuck, which is a 3.3. So Ewan, impressive in his takeoffs. We saw some good ones earlier. And then just going, loosening his body as he's coming out a little bit. Showing not a whole lot of confidence to come out and put that in. Big dive at a young age. A lot of torque you need, a lot of power in the takeoff, and a lot of abs and a lot of flexibility to get in 3.5 backwards in pike.
And that dive was a DD of 3.6. Now Robbie, the same dive in the tuck position, a DD of 3.3.
Robbie with some extra tape on that tricep. And that was a very well-timed dive. And brilliant move to add that extra tape on his tricep.
I'm kind of speechless, to be honest. I expected it. I know what Robbie is capable of, and it is doing back 3.5s just like that. Very beautiful entry. Team Great Britain is going to be very happy with that.
Excellent back 3.5, 79 points, not quite the 84 that Matt had, but nonetheless right in that range.
Anton, the leader of this final, the back 3.5 tuck.
Leading the way, here's his chance to secure the lead. He's got high degree of difficulty.
Wow.
And he will drop from the lead there. That was a big mistake. He over-rotates, which is a bit ironic because it looked like he was spinning a little bit too slow to be comfortable on that dive.
I think he was trying to make up for that slow rotation. A good athlete knows when you have a different takeoff than you're used to. He knew he was spinning too slowly, and he wanted to hold on so that he didn't land short. That's everybody's worst nightmare, is landing short. The goal for him there, holding on a little bit longer, was to point straight up and down and get that rip entry, but unfortunately he held on just a bit too long, pulling really over and showing the judges that big splash.
Only 29 points on that dive. The reaction of the coaches said it all. High hopes. Now he's going to struggle to be anywhere on that podium.
Bertrand from Malaysia, the reverse 3.5 somersault in the tuck position. We're only going to see a few of these in this event. It is an extremely difficult dive.
Well, he wasn't afraid of the tower. He jumped that straight up, did not jump out as far as we saw on the other reverse 3.5, and still didn't quite get all the rotations in. So just a little bit slow, maybe slower than usual for him because it looked like a confident kick.
And another thing we did speak about was those kickouts. Pulling your arms back into the air as you push out definitely slows down the rotation. It's very helpful to kick and put your hands down right on your thighs, continuing that slight rotation and then reaching back to pull it through. He just stopped it short by reaching his arms up into the air instead of pulling them up right through his body.
And up to Danilo. A little bit out of the medals right now. He's in 7th place, hanging back a little bit. A solid back 3.5 can jump him up. He's seen a few misses from the other divers. He knows there's room to make a move. Now we'll see how he handles that. And he was not ready for a great back 3.5 there. That was a disastrous kick out really early on that kick. Makes you wonder if he is a spotter. This is kind of where it shows up. You kind of see the strength of their orientation on these dives. On back and reverse is where it shows up the most. A completely out of the ordinary kick out time. Could have just been a little bit of panic. He kind of had a little slip in his notion of what he was doing. Immediately noticing that he was going to land almost on his back, braking position to get to his head. Lowest point total of that event. Didn't hurt himself, but he only gets 10 points on that dive.
Something Molly and I spoke a lot about during the high diving was safety. And sometimes in the end, it is just more important to choose your safety over those scores. Tim not holding his handstand.
Yeah, just
no control on that takeoff.
you got to get all the way up vertically. Show that control first for the judges. First of all, but then also to get a good takeoff.
Especially in that A group, it's we're usually seeing those handstands being held for at least 3 seconds.
Just a bit of a slow twist there. Not really having a good feel for it. Still gets a handshake from his coach, Alex, from Aachen in Germany.
Jackson from Australia with the back arm stand triple. Hoping to see a little bit of a comeback from Jackson. He's been pushing his last 2 dives quite far away from the platform.
Luckily in the handstand, you can't push as far. It's just coming from your hands.
There we go.
Yeah, certainly a great control in the handstand. Really small, excellent tuck. Could point his toes a little more in the tuck. But that's his best dive of the final.
Definitely those little things the judges can see, especially in the tuck. When your toes aren't pointed, it really stands out. The judges know that you're not completing the whole part of the dive the way they want to see it, although Jackson receiving some really nice scores on that dive.
Just showing you how important that entry is. Excellent finish, excellent control. Jackson was 77. And he makes a significant move. Francesco. Backwards handstand, but with the twist. Literally.
Not a great dive for Francesco. Landing very, very short. And like we said in the beginning, this is one of the most exciting events of the whole entire week. It is saved for last, and we don't really want to see any misses in this event.
It's special when you see the spectacular entries that you can get from the 10 meter. So when you see an under rotation, a little extra splash, disappointing for both the athlete and coach and the fans in the crowd watching, wanting to see the show. But that is what makes it dramatic.
And now we have Diogo with the back 2.5, somersault 1.5 twist. Diogo third coming into this final and third coming into this round, really wanting to maintain that third spot or even push past.
Should be able to do it on this one. This should be a very consistent, solid dive for him. Another close to 70 points, and he'll maintain his position up in the medals. Sensational jump, outstanding entry. Just a little under-rotated. So great job on this dive. This is high. Look at this.
This might be one of the highest back twisters I've seen. It is a very technical dive. You need the height, you need the twist, and you need the rotation. That is a lot to put into one dive. He definitely has the height portion of it. Just needing that slight bit more rotation to not land that slight bit short, but ultimately a beautiful, technically sound dive from Diogo.
Yeah, and I really like what the judges did there. They didn't give him 8s because it wasn't vertical enough, but they rewarded the height and just the quality of skill in that dive. Position, takeoff, still good entry.
Now you can hear the crowd going crazy, as they should. Matt with an inward 3.5 tuck, also one of those dives we know he can enter the water with absolutely no rip, no splash. Very
he does
beautiful.
a great entry.
A great entry for Matt. Usually there wouldn't even be that water push-up but still a beautiful dive overall. Matt is such a talented athlete. Like I said before, he is here to get on that podium. Only one more dive left for Matt, and that is the back twister, which we know he is very capable of doing.
84 points in the last round, 76 in this one, well above that 70-point mark. Now Matt is in the lead. He moves ahead of Anton, who had the lead before, ahead of Diogo, who was in third. Robbie Lee has jumped all the way up to second with his consistent great diving. And now Tyler, wanting to reclaim the lead after winning the preliminaries, sitting in 8th after his first 3 dives, has the difficulty to make a move here. Back 3.5 tuck. We know he has an entry.
Just letting the pressure of this event get to him. And this is what happens. It can be really, really difficult to come back from a miss in a competition, especially with such high stakes and high pressure. When you're on, but it can be really difficult to come back.
And especially when you have a long time to wait in between rounds. It's just mind games as you're sitting there, either upset with yourself or get your positive self-talk going. Talk yourself into the next ones are going to be promising and great finishes.
We're going to see the leaderboard here. Matt Cullen from Canada in the lead with a score of 455.6. Behind him, Robbie Lee from Great Britain, 442.5. And not far behind Robbie Diogo from Brazil, 439.55. Now we're really starting to see the range of scores. Between 6th and 1st is a total of 66 points. These athletes really, really pushing each other, wanting to get those top spots, wanting to bring the medal home for their country. We only have one more round. This round is where we're going to see the only forward 4.5 from Diogo. Ultimately, this round is going to come down to the last dive, down to the last diver, and this is where things get exciting and more intense.
And I like Matt has a nice little cushion here, and he has a very solid, high difficulty back twist at the end. I like his chances. It's one of his better dives, one of his more consistent dives, putting him in great shape.
Starting off this final round of this final event of this competition, Jesus with the back twist we were just talking about. The 3.2, back 2.5 somersault, 1.5 twist.
Another great start. He's got some very classy, beautiful lines and positions. Just running out a little bit at the end, not quite letting it get all the way vertical, controlling it just a little too early.
Jesus coming 12th in the prelim and going into this final round in 7th. That's really, really great. And a nice way to finish the event. He should be happy with that. Now he gets to relax. Coach Yankler, who I've known since I was a very young girl, one of the Cuban athletes who would come to my hometown, Victoria, and stay with us and train with us. A great athlete, a great coach. Ewan from Great Britain with an extremely difficult dive, the reverse 3.5 somersault tuck position, saving it for the very last dive.
A little more degree of difficulty on this one, 3.4.
The second time we've seen that leg break in the come out of a dive.
Yeah, just a little, showing a bit of lack of confidence as he comes out, knowing he's a little under-rotated, not just tightening everything up and just pulling it in. You bend your knees, the judges will kill you for it.
And we spot our dives for a reason. It's really important to make sure you see all of your spots before you come out. He just needed to squeeze a little bit more on that bottom. Unfortunate finish for Ewan. Still overall a great performance, making the final here in the Boys A platform event at the FINA Junior World Championships. Robbie on the 10 meter doing the back 2.5 somersault, 2.5 twist, where he's the only one we're gonna see do this. This is an extremely difficult dive and not a lot of men do it. He is second going into this final. This high DD Let's see what he can do.
That's a hard dive to make it look extremely clean. A little bit loose in the feet, not getting that great entry. I think that also his tricep is definitely a factor. We saw him taping up during the event. And despite having a slightly injured tricep, without the ability to hold the entries as you want when you don't have your full power, he made a move from 11th after the preliminaries, or 10th, excuse me, all the way to 2nd. So he's still going to be in contention for that. 66 points on that. He does leave the door open a crack for some of the others to catch him, but he's sitting in first now.
Definitely impressive. The only athlete in this event competing that dive. Now Anton, hoping for a little bit of a comeback. He was in first.
He led the way for most of this event. What matters are the last few dives. He's got an inward 3.5. Faltered on his back 3.5. One miss. Unfortunately, it was a big miss. Still in fourth.
Gorgeous. That is the way you want to finish the event. Anton not letting the misses get to him, especially on this last dive. That was beautiful right from the takeoff. He is so confident doing this dive, absolutely escaping into the water. He is going to feel so good knowing he finished off this event with that beautiful inward 3.5 somersault.
Yeah, such a compact tuck position. His positions are really outstanding.
Receiving
really good
a 10.
Our first 10 of the day.
And he got 84.8 on that dive. Just points away from Matt's 84.15. 0.07. That is incredible. The only 10 we've seen in this event.
He's going to be kicking himself for that last dive when he knew he did that. And maybe part of it, though, was the motivation, frustration, building a great last one.
But he pushed his score really far up on that dive. Really impressive work from Anton. Definitely someone to look out for. Bertrand.
Another very good entry, another great back twist. Vertical jump really helps with a vertical entry at the end.
We saw some really nice dives from Bertrand from Malaysia in this final, showing that Malaysia is here. They are here to compete. He has a beautiful rip entry, a happy smile, some waves. Excellent work.
441 is his total score. From 11th, moves him up a little bit, but still out of the medals.
Danilo from the Ukraine, finishing off what I would think would be a strong dive for him, the forward 3.5 pike. An unfortunate miss in round 4 for him. Hoping for a strong finish. There it is.
It's always good to finish on a strong last dive. We've seen 2 divers in a row that had misses come back and save their best for last. Just like on the golf course, you can duff all over the place. If your last drive is great, it'll keep you coming back. Total of 430 for Danilo. Gets a hug from his coach. And Tim Axer's final dive. He's looking to threaten.
This is a very big twisting dive.
And this is what we were talking about earlier. This is the dive that used to be 3.2, while the other twist was 3.4. They've switched the difficulties around. This is now 3.3. And we get to see it. That straight body position, beautiful twisting action. It is a trickier dive to control, and it's hard to keep your body stable and flat without a wobble in it. And he does a great job of that. Falls back just a touch, letting him lose control and over-rotating a little bit on the end. Still a solid final for Tim, 464. He sits up in third for now. Australia's Jackson Boshar. Finishing on a back 3.5 somersaults. He's shown us he's got great tuck positions, really gets into a small tuck. He did a great back arm stand triple. Let's see if he finishes on back 3.5 for that same confident reason.
Wow.
Gloves kicking out on the back entries.
I wasn't sure what that dive was going to look like based on the takeoff. Just a little bit lower than we've been seeing for these back 3.5s. Nice tight tuck and knows exactly when and where to kick out. That was an excellent finish from Jackson, Team Australia.
Beautiful back 3.5, 80.85 points on that dive. Seeing a lot of very strong finishes as people climb up the leaderboard. He was 10th going into that round, and he's already surpassed a few of the divers from the previous round. A little bit lower degree of difficulty as Francesco goes to do the reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck. We've seen a couple of 3.5s. And if you're doing a 2.5, you want to show confidence in this kick out. Very bold takeoff, flat body as you come out and go straight in at the end. He's flat, he's bold.
We saw something on our side.
A little wobbly in that come out. So when we talk about flat and still, you want to have this just stillness with your body as you come out. You see his body just sort of warble a little bit as he comes out of that. I think that explains the discrepancy. You've got a high of 8.5, a low of 6.5. $63 points, 462. He does not look happy, but gets congratulations from his coach.
Diogo in the fight for that top 3 medal spots.
Forward 4.5, biggest risk in this event. Necklace with a diver logo on his neck. A lot of the Latin divers had those going around.
That was incredible.
Forward 3.5 somersaults. Brazil is cheering not only their results at the World Cup in soccer, but Diogo's threat at the medals here at the World Championships in diving.
I am very looking forward to seeing what these scores are. That was an incredible, most difficult dive from Diogo in this event.
Robbie Lee looking on anxiously.
Some nice scores for Diogo with that high DD, with a total of 81.4.
What a list from Diogo. 520 points in the boys A final. Only one diver can really dislodge him from first place right now, and that's the one we're looking at right now. Sitting in first, he surpassed Robbie Lee. And now on the 10 meter, the only diver that has a chance to move into first. This can be a great dive for Matt. One of his more consistent dives with quality.
Wow.
And Matt did a great back 3.5 earlier, and this is even better.
That was an incredible finish from Matt Cullen. He really wants that gold medal here today. That is the kind of rip entry we are used to seeing from Matt. He has to be happy with that. He just did 5 excellent rounds, finishing off with what he knows how to do.
We've seen a 10 earlier. Will we see a 10 for Matt? The coaches love it. They know what that means. Another 10, our second 10 of the event. The rest are 9s and a 9.5.
A total of 86.4. The highest score of this event. Matt Cullen. Wow.
Qualifying second in the preliminaries. They dive in reverse order in the final. Now Tyler Wills gets to do his final dive, but Matt is uncatchable. He has just secured the gold medal for Canada.
The last diver of this event, Tyler, with the difficult reverse 3.5. Also hoping to finish on that strong note. Unfortunate event for him on his last 2 dives. Though.
Great finish, look at that. Handling the pressure, knowing the situation, and still coming up with a great dive. That is a great sign for Tyler.
Showing resilience in this event. With one of those higher scores of this event.
81 points. 81.60 on that reverse 3.5. Very solid finish. You know why he saved it for last. Lots of points on that. We're going to move to the leaderboard shortly, where you get to see the top 3 finishers. Gold medalist right there, Matt Cullen.
Wow. What a great final event of the week. It's been a long week here. Matt Cullen with that high score of 542. 22 points behind Diogo, who also put on an excellent performance with 520.95. And 11 points behind him, Robbie Lee. We saw some exceptional dives from him with 509.1. Nobody in the top 6 can really be disappointed with their performance. It was excellent.
All the medalists over 500 points. An excellent final. We saw jostling around. We saw some great dives. We did see a few dives that could have been done better. So some of the divers leaving a bit disappointed, but certainly those top 3 divers did a great job and will be very pleased.
Well, this
especially
concludes
with that last final dive.
The FINA 2002 Junior World Championships here in Montreal at the Olympic Stadium. It has been a very long 8 days for all the coaches, the judges, the athletes, the staff. Everybody has done such a great job. We are so fortunate to be here. Very, very happy, Team Brazil. And
Yes.
now the athletes get to go to a banquet and dance their little booties off and eat some food, and it will be very rewarding. Igor, thank you so much for joining me this week.
Thank you, Courtney. It's been a pleasure.
I feel almost a tear that we're finished, but it might just be because I can go to bed. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We're out.
coming up momentarily. The medal ceremony for the Boys A platform event. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Diving Plongeon Canada and Plongeon Quebec, we certainly thank you for attending the 2022 FINA World Junior Diving Championships. Thank you for coming out and supporting these amazing athletes. Coming up will be the award ceremony. First off, the Boys A platform finals, the event we just saw, and then we will switch over to a medal presentation for our high diving events. The victory ceremony for the Boys A platform coming up shortly.
legend of the phoenix all ends with beginnings. What keeps the planet spinning? The force from the beginning. Love. We've come too far to give up who we are. So let's raise the bar and our cups to the stars. She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to get some. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to the sun. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night for good fun. We're up all night to get lucky. 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 The present has no ribbon. Your gift keeps on giving. What is this I'm feeling? If you wanna leave, I'm with it. We've come too far to give up.
Ladies and gentlemen, diving fans, your attention to the big screen as we see a highlight package of how our athletes achieved their podium status. Diving fans, please welcome the medalists and presenters for the Boys A Platform Championships.
Veuillez maintenant accueillir les médaillés et les présentateurs pour l'épreuve de championnat à la tour Garçon A.
The medals will be presented by
Les médailles seront présentées par
member of the FINA Technical Diving Committee Commission,
membre de la commission du comité technique de plongeon de la FINA,
Jesus Mena Campos, accompanied by
accompagné par
Sports Event Planning Advisor, City of Montreal,
le conseiller en planification, événements et pratiques sportives à la Ville de Montréal, François-Olivier Langto.
in third place, winner of the bronze medal, representing Great Britain,
En troisième place, gagnant de la médaille de bronze, représentant la Grande-Bretagne,
Robbie Lee. In second place, winner of the silver medal, representing Brazil,
En deuxième place, gagnant de la médaille d'argent, représentant le Brésil,
Diogo Silva. Your winner of the gold medal and your 2022 FINA World Junior Diving Champion, representing Canada,
gagnant de la médaille d'or et votre champion du monde junior de plongeon de la FINA 2022, représentant le Canada,
Matt Cullen. Please join us and sing along for the national anthem of Canada.
Veuillez maintenant vous joindre à nous pour la présentation de l'hymne national du Canada.
Please show your appreciation for our 2022 FINA World Junior Diving Championship medalists.
Veuillez applaudir nos médaillés des championnats du monde junior de plongeon de la FINA 2022.
Once again, our congratulations to our A platform medalists. Could we please have our high dive B 12 meter girls and boys, A 50 meter girls and boys report to the medal ceremony area so that we can present you with your World Championship medalists. High divers, please report to the marshalling area for athlete introductions to our medal ceremony. Thank you.
After three, after four times, why did I bother? Tell me how many more times does it take to get smarter? Don't need to deny the hurt and the lies and all of the things you did to me. I swear I know you did. Now you take her out in your fancy car and make out in the rain. And when she rings you up, she know where you are, but I know differently. Now she sings along when you play guitar, making brand new memories. Hope you treat her better than you treated me. I'm onto you, yeah you. I'm not your number one. I saw you with her, kissing and having fun. If you're giving all of your money and time, I'm not gonna sit here wasting mine on you, yeah you. Ciao adios, I'm done, I'm done. Ciao adios, I'm done. Ciao adios, I'm done, I'm done. Giving all of your money and time, I'm not gonna sit here wasting mine on you, yeah you. Ciao adios, I'm done. Now you take her out in your fancy car and make out in the rain. And when she rings you up, she know where you are, but I know differently. Now she sings along when you play guitar, making brand new memories. Hope you treat her better than you treated me. I'm onto you, yeah you. I'm not your number one. I saw you with her, kissing and having fun. If you're giving all of your money and time, I'm not gonna sit here wasting mine on you, yeah you. Ciao adios, I'm done, I'm done.
For your viewing pleasure, have a look at our video board. This is how our athletes achieve their podium status. Diving fans, please welcome the medalists and presenters for the first ever Girls B12-meter High Diving International Championships.
Veuillez maintenant accueillir les médaillés et présentateurs pour l'épreuve de championnat mondial de plongeon au vol filles 12 mètres.
The medals will be presented by
Les médailles seront présentées par
Chair of the FINA High Diving Technical Committee,
président du comité technique de plongeon de haut vol de la FINA,
Orlando Duque, accompanied by
accompagné par
member of the FINA High Diving Events and Rule Subcommittee,
membre du sous-comité des épreuves et des règlements de haut vol de la FINA,
Hassan Mouti. In third place and winner of the bronze medal representing United States of America,
en troisième place, gagnante de la médaille de bronze représentant les États-Unis d'Amérique,
Gabby Mode. In second position and winner of the silver trophy representing Canada,
en deuxième place, gagnante du trophée d'argent représentant le Canada,
Anna Wiley. Winner of the gold trophy and your junior international high diving champion representing Ukraine,
gagnante du trophée d'or et votre championne du monde junior de plongeon au vol représentant l'Ukraine,
Nelly Chukanivska. Please join us for the national anthem of Ukraine.
Veuillez maintenant vous joindre à nous pour la présentation de l'hymne national de l'Ukraine.
Please show your appreciation for our Junior International High Diving Championship medalists.
Veuillez applaudir nos championnes du monde junior des championnats internationaux de plongeon au vol.
Coming up momentarily, medal presentation for the boys B 12-meter high diving championship finalists.
Every day is sweat, I come out the better, fetting more than you. It's sweat, I come out the sweater, wetter, sweating more than you. I come to wine and jam and I sure to catch it more than you. Cause when I'm fetting, of course, I just do it like a boss. I'm fetting morning and evening. This is my home and not leaving. I can't get over this feeling. I just want to pay myself. People let me pay a mass. I just want to wine on something. I can't let no
diving fans, please welcome the medalists and presenters for the Boys B 12-meter high diving World Championship event.
Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez maintenant accueillir les médaillés et les présentateurs pour l'épreuve de championnat plongeon au vol garçon 12 mètres.
The trophies will be presented by
Les trophées seront présentés par
Chair of the FINA High Diving Technical Committee,
le président du comité technique de plongeon de haut vol de la FINA,
Orlando Duque, accompanied by
accompagné par
member of the FINA High Diving Events and Rules Subcommittee,
membre du sous-comité des épreuves et des règlements de haut vol de la FINA,
Hassan Mote. In third place, and winner of the Bronze Trophy, representing Spain,
en troisième place, gagnant du trophée de bronze représentant l'Espagne,
Hugo Rodriguez. In second place, and winner of the Silver Trophy, representing Great Britain,
en deuxième place, gagnant du trophée d'argent représentant la Grande-Bretagne,
Archie, one day I'll be biggin'. Winner of the Gold Trophy and your 2022 Junior International High Diving Champion, representing Canada,
gagnant du trophée d'or et votre champion 2022 international de plongeon haute voltige représentant le Canada, Charles-Antoine Labadie.
Please join us for the national anthem of Canada.
Veuillez maintenant vous joindre à nous pour la présentation de l'hymne national du Canada.
Carry on singing. Merci beaucoup. Ladies and gentlemen, your appreciation for our Junior International High Diving Championship medalists.
Encore une fois, nos champions internationaux juniors de plongeon au vol.
last nights. All my prayers, they glow like northern lights. And I'll fight for every single one. I'm not gonna beg you for tomorrow. Some are born to lead and never follow. No one can tell me now. This ain't where I belong. I fell 1,000 times and I remember every word. Dare you to knock me down. I dare you to come for me.
Better be put on the spot there.
I've done a
The actual situation.
million to find a place for me, and I'm right
Always
where
have
I'm
to be planned.
supposed to be. Right where I'm supposed to be.
John was fun to work with. I did Salt Lake City with him. He did the Kings back then. Dean or something. Short, long guy. Quiet guy.
Right where I'm supposed to be.
Ever heard of Mike Carlucci? I worked hockey in Salt Lake City with Mike. Lost track of him though. I went on vacation at his place in Orange County. So next is 15 meters. One way for him to remember you for life.
Ready, set, let's go. Ready, set, let's go. Ready, set, let's go. Ready, set, let's go.
It's like the inside joke forever now.
Penny, Jeff, 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 Jeff Beatty, can you check if we're ready to go, please? Sorry, I have no phone now. Diving fans, your attention to the big screens as we look at a highlight package on our girls A 15-meter high diving championship event. This is how they got to the podium. Diving fans, please welcome the medalists and presenters for the girls A 15-meter high diving championship event.
Veuillez maintenant accueillir les récipiendaires des trophées et les présentateurs pour l'épreuve de championnat plongeon au vol filles à 15 mètres.
The trophies will be presented by
Les trophées seront présentés par
member of the FINA High Diving Technical Committee,
membre du comité technique de plongeon de haut vol de la FINA,
Anka Piper, accompanied by
accompagné par
Chair of the FINA High Diving Coaching Development Subcommittee and Red Bull Cliff Diving Commentator,
le président du sous-comité de développement des entraîneurs de plongeon de haut vol de la FINA et commentateur de Red Bull pour le plongeon au vol,
Joey Zuber. In third place and winner of the Bronze Trophy, representing United States of America,
en troisième place et gagnante du trophée de bronze représentant les États-Unis d'Amérique,
Sydney Kowalski. How about the teddy bear, Joey? In second place and winner of the silver trophy, representing Mexico,
en deuxième place gagnante du trophée d'argent représentant le Mexique,
Alejandra Aguilera Tovar. Winner of the gold medal, trophy, and your 2022 Junior International High Diving Champion, representing Canada,
gagnante du trophée d'or et votre championne junior internationale de plongeon au vol représentant le Canada, Simone Lathan.
please join us for the national anthem of Canada.
Veuillez maintenant vous joindre à nous pour la présentation de l'hymne national du Canada.
Your 2022 Junior International High Diving Championship medalists.
Vos champions internationaux juniors de plongeon au vol.
I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And I'm right where I'm supposed to be. When I think of all the countless nights, all my prayers they glow like northern lights. And I'll fight for every single one. I'm not gonna beg you for tomorrow. Some are born to lead and never follow. No one can tell me now, this ain't where I belong. I fell 1,000 times and I remember everyone. Dare you to knock me down, I dare you to come for me. I've gone 1,000,000 miles to find a place for me, and I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Right where I'm supposed to be. And I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Right where I'm supposed to be. Right where I'm supposed to be. Yeah, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Feel it in my bones, it's down to the wire. It's more than a dream, it's more than desire. I can feel you.
Diving fans, your attention to the video boards as we show a highlight package on how our athletes achieved their podium status.
It's been years in the making. So turn the lights down low, rolling up my sleeve. Right now I'm in my zone. Put your eyes on me. I got the skies to show it didn't come for free. It's been years in the making. So put your hands up high, baby, walk with me. I see it in your eyes, it's something you believe. You got the skies to show it didn't come for free. It's been years in the making. Chasing down everything I'm feeling.
Diving fans, please welcome the medalists and presenters for the boys A 15-meter Junior High Diving Championships.
Veuillez maintenant accueillir les récipiendaires de trophées et présentateurs pour l'épreuve de championnat junior. Plongeon au vol, garçon à 15 mètres.
The trophies will be presented by
Les trophées seront présentés par
member of the FINA High Diving Technical Committee,
membre du comité technique de plongeon de haut vol de la FINA,
Anka Piper, accompanied by
accompagné par
Chair of the FINA High Diving Coaching Development Subcommittee and Red Bull Cliff Diving Commentator,
le président du sous-comité de développement des entraîneurs de plongeon de haut vol de la FINA et commentateur Red Bull pour le plongeon de falaise,
Joey Zuber. In third place and winner of the bronze trophy, representing Canada,
En troisième place, gagnant du trophée de bronze représentant le Canada,
Carter Baker. In second place and winner of the silver trophy, representing Ukraine,
en deuxième place, gagnant du trophée d'argent représentant l'Ukraine,
Stefan Mochan. Winner of the gold trophy and your 2022 Junior International High Diving Champion, representing Italy,
gagnant du trophée d'or et votre champion international junior 2022 de plongeon au vol représentant l'Italie,
Andrea Barnaba. Please join us for the national anthem of Italy.
Veuillez maintenant vous joindre à nous pour la présentation de l'hymne national de l'Italie.
Your appreciation for our 2022 Junior International High Diving Championship medalists.
Mesdames et messieurs, vos champions internationaux juniors 2022 de plongeon au vol.
This concludes the FINA 2022 World Junior Diving Championships and the Junior International High Diving Championships event here in Montreal. Thank you and merci.
Ceci met fin aux championnats mondiaux juniors 2022 de plongeon FINA. Et également à la compétition de championnats mondiaux de plongeon au vol. Merci d'avoir été des nôtres. Au revoir et soyez prudents pour le retour.
For your viewing pleasure, put together by our amazing production team, a final end of day rollout. And bye, bye, bye.